What's up, Sun Devils? Our men's basketball team is competing in the Pac-12 tournament this Thursday, March 14th at 6 p.m. They're going to be playing either UCLA or Stanford, and we are going to be hosting a viewing party in Sparky's Den. So come down, get some free food, some free giveaways, and watch your Sun Devils play.
Hello and welcome to Inferno Insider, the hottest podcast at Arizona State University. We're here for the fans, forged in the flames, and brought to you by the Sun Devil Student Section. Stay tuned as we take you inside the Inferno.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Inferno Insider Podcast. I'm RJ.
I'm Tyler.
I'm Jacob.
How's your guys' spring break?
Awesome.
A bit chilly.
You know what? Let's make it a little bit hot with our Sun Devil rundown. So let's start off with women's basketball in the Pac-12 tournament, beating number 12 Colorado 66-49, unfortunately losing to number 4 UCLA in a close game 73-69. They're currently projected to be the number 5 seed in the women's tournament, so they're still going very strong, still having a great season, and they're not even close to being done yet. So now let's shift over to softball, beating James Madison 6-4, losing to Michigan in a close game 6-7, beating New Mexico State 17-1, beating Lehigh 4-1, beating South Dakota 12-0, and they're currently ranked 16th in the nation. Guys, what are you guys' biggest takeaways from our softball season so far?
It's a lot of wins.
A lot of wins. I mean, beating JMU, who's a really good team. The Dukes over there are always a pretty good program, and definitely beating them. Close game, 6-4. But you know what? That 17-1 defeat of New Mexico State. How about that? Like to see a bunch of runs.
And you know, like all the games that they've lost so far have been so close, so down to the last minute, and it just shows that even when they're down, they're still kicking it. They're still really strong, and they're still just competing every single day. So you love to see it. And now let's shift over to basketball, beating Oregon State 74-71, and having an amazing weekend, beating U of A 72-64.
Let's go.
Get those brooms out.
You know what? I think it's safe to say that we're a basketball school.
We are.
Yeah.
That is the first basketball sweep in at least 10 years.
Let us not forget that not only did we sweep them in basketball, we still have that Territorial Cup hanging in the Carson Student Athletic Center right there.
And that's a great way to put it. So now let's go into baseball. Currently ranked 25, they swept Michigan State 8-0, 8-5, 13-2, and they swept Cal State Fullerton 6-4. But their game on on March 6th got canceled, and they also swept Xavier 12-0, 8-3, and 11-6. And now let's shift over to our first segment about baseball. I think a hot start to the season is a little of an understatement.
I'd say it's a
Start. I mean, we might not want to use the word start.
Yeah, I was like, I think it's a little past the start.
Yeah.
I mean, one of two undefeated teams as of recording, us and NC State. But it's so fun to watch Sun Devil baseball once again. It's been a long time coming for this program to be this good and this competitive, finally getting over that hump of the kind of the slow seasons that they've had a couple of years ago. And coming out of the gates, like, just 15-0. Let's hope this continues coming up in the conference play. Conference play is going to be the real test with teams like Oregon State and Stanford, who are highly, highly ranked. But we're also climbing our way up there. Undefeated. We're undefeated for a reason. And also, another thing that I like to see is, you read it off, the runs that we had. The lowest one we had was 6 runs. Last time I checked, that's still a lot of runs. So, I mean, this team's very high-powered. It's very fun to watch. If you haven't gone to Phoenix Muni, why haven't you, first off? It's a great venue. And this team is so much fun to watch.
Yeah. I'm just going to shout out a couple people here. Hunter Bishop. I follow ASU baseball on Twitter, and I feel like every day I get a Bishop bomb, like, tweet every single day.
It's like last year with the Torque bombs. This year it's with the Bishop bombs.
He's got 8 home runs already on the season. He's batting for 400, 22 RBIs, just absolutely ridiculous. Trevor Hauver, again, I'll said it once to say to the million
Your boy.
times. My boy continues to make me look great, so shout out to you, Trevor, having a really, really good season, batting 360, over 360. He's got 5 home runs and 15 walks, and we've talked about that, how many walks he's had. It's way more than anyone else on this team, and that is very, very telling. And then Torkelson doing his thing. He only has 2 home runs, and we say only, But he's still really producing. He has over 20 RBIs. He's still performing, batting over 350. So this team is hot. And again, I mention this all the time because we get distracted by how many runs they score, but their pitching's been unbelievable too. I think the last game they played against Xavier, maybe it was the second game. Boyd Vanderkoy had a great game, 7 innings. So this team is working in every way right now, and they're just so fun to watch.
And speaking of that pitching, for both the Michigan State series and the Xavier series, starting it off with an 8-0 and then 12-0, I think that goes with the pitching. That really just sets the foundation for the rest of the series.
Not just pitching, but the other 8 guys on the field.
Yeah.
The defense. Defense wins championships, and obviously this team is built with that high-powered offense, but also those guys can field pretty well as well. And just make sure that they give the pitcher the support he needs to just throw heaters and just throw whatever, because he knows that he's got 8 guys behind him who will make sure nothing gets past them.
I think the second Michigan State game, so we've had a lot of blowout wins, but I think one of the most telling wins we've had so far is, I believe it was the second game again in the series against Michigan State, a walk-off win, a torque bomb.
I was about to say, you better say it was a walk-off torque bomb.
Yeah. That one was so telling because we were down in that game a lot. It was a back-and-forth contest. We were down a couple runs. We took the lead by a run. They came back and tied it up. Just a back-and-forth contest. But that never-give-up mentality, they keep fighting. And it's always there's different guys, too. It's a different guy every day is the hero. So this team's got all the workings to make a really deep run, and I'm just excited to be along for the ride.
One word I would use, and normally it's not necessarily used for baseball terms, but that 8-5 win over Michigan State really kind of brings this word to the forefront. It's used in hockey, it's used in football, but grit.
Yes.
Grit. That shows the grit of this team and trying to find new ways to win, whether it's pitching domination, hitting, just crushing the ball, run support, or just a walk-off torque bomb. Either one, there's many different ways the Sun Devil baseball team can win.
So if you guys had to pinpoint just one thing, what do you think is making this team so effective for the first 15 games?
I wouldn't say it's just one thing.
But if I made you pick one?
I don't think you can, because this team's so not necessarily complete, but they do everything really, really well. So you can't really pinpoint one thing. They're really good at many different things. It's any team sport is a puzzle. Like in our interview with Johnny Walker, everyone's a puzzle piece trying to fit into the puzzle. Baseball's the same way. Everyone's fitting into that different puzzle piece, and I think that's the thing about this team is that puzzle is coming together. Whether it's defense, offense, pitching, all the above. I think that's not necessarily one thing, but that's kind of what I would go with.
Yeah, I'll give you one word. I'll do better than Jacob here. I'll give you one word. Culture. They have, and it's very similar. I see a lot of parallels between their undefeated start here and the undefeated basketball start last year, in that they're building a culture. They're building a brand. The fans are coming back and just going insane for them. I'm seeing more and more support for them from the students. The students are just unbelievable, the support they're giving. They're building a culture there, and they're making Phoenix Municipal a place to be.
I wouldn't say it's a building of a culture. I'd say it's the reestablishment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say, because building means you're starting from the ground. This team is it's got the foundation, It's got the name brand, it's got everything. So the reestablishment and the rediscovery of the Sun Devil baseball culture, I think that's something they want to live up to, that because we've had the longest drought we've ever gone without going to the College World Series in Omaha. They want to go back to Omaha, and this team has the power and the ability to go back to Omaha. I think this could be the first team in a while that could go there.
All right, so make sure you guys support our baseball team, as Jacob said, as they go into conference play. Great season so far, 15-0, amazing run so far. And now let's shift over to basketball, beating U of A. Guys, what are you guys thinking about right now?
It feels so good.
My brooms were out. I was sweeping out the trash. That is the University of Arizona, because for the first time in nearly over a decade,
yep.
We swept them in basketball. And I love hearing them. I love seeing all the tweets directed to the U of A program saying we're a basketball school. And now it's not them quoting us. It's we're telling them we're a basketball school and we're here to stay, and I think that's pretty fun to see.
I got to watch the game from the other side of the country on my phone, but I was going crazy. It was so fun to watch. And Remy Martin, sometimes that guy just can throw a shot up from anywhere and make it. And near the end of the game, that was where he was at, and he had 27 points. Just a huge game for him, and he has come up. And he likes playing against Arizona. I will say he likes playing against Arizona. So just really great to see, have the opportunity to see them sweep the season series, something that hasn't been done in a very long time. And it's really cool, again, like we talk about, to be here during this transition period where they're becoming a powerhouse. And it's awesome.
Remy Martin had, I think, combined in the 2 games against U of A this year, I think it was like 50-plus or 60 points. In 2 games against U of A. That's just astounding. And it's fun to watch. I also was watching it from the other side of the country on a television, not on a phone. So a little bit more luckier, but I felt the energy and the passion of this team. Watching Bobby Hurley coach, one of the best games that he's coached, because if you look at it early on, they got into foul trouble. They got into really, really bad foul trouble. They had to take a couple guys onto the bench and just go, you're on 3 fouls. We can't have you fouling out pretty early on. And that's why I think Bobby Hurley coached a master class of balancing everything out from the foul trouble to U of A was in it for about 90% of that game until we kind of ran away with it at the end. It was a really close, hard-fought game. And that's why I think this entire team is built for March. I think this team is we're projected as a 10 seed right now. I think if we win 1 game in the Pac-12 tournament, I think we're a lock in. And I think this team could be a team to pencil in on a couple brackets that could go pretty far. Because, I mean, they are built for this kind of mentality, and it's going to be pretty interesting to watch how they go.
And speaking of another tournament that's coming up, we got the Pac-12 tournament coming out.
That's right.
The day this releases, it's going to be a Wednesday, so it's going to be the start of the tournament. What do you guys think this game, how do you think it's going to translate into the Pac-12 tournament?
Momentum.
Yeah, it's huge. Momentum is always huge, and getting a win against our rival school going into that tournament is going to be absolutely huge. I say it a lot, but the fans really travel well to Vegas. So it's going to be really cool to see all the ASU fans there, the chants. It's always really cool to see when you get to watch your team play on the road. And I got to hear this when I was watching the U of A game. And when it was out of reach and we knew we had the win, ASU chants ringing at U of A. I mean, there's nothing cooler than hearing that, you know. So it's obvious. It's just momentum is huge. So we don't know who we're going to play yet, but I think, like Jacob said, if we can get a couple wins in this tournament, it's huge because not just for a lock for the tournament, but again, momentum going into that tournament. The Pac-12 is wide open. We really have a great shot at making a deep run and potentially winning this thing. And I cannot remember the last time ASU's won the Pac-12 tournament. So to be able to see something like that would be so cool.
What do you think it would mean moving forward for our other basketball seasons if we can win this Pac-12 tournament?
I think there's always been this mentality, at least I've seen it in the last few years since I've been here, of like we're great in non-conference, but like we're cursed in Pac-12. Like there's just something that's like, it's not even that sometimes we don't play great, but like sometimes it's just bad luck.
Yeah.
And we wonder what's going on. This season, I really feel like we've broken that. And I feel like we have a great shot at making a deep run because this season feels different. And it feels like we really have a chance to own the Pac-12. And I think that's what this is all about, is the future of ASU basketball being the powerhouse of the Pac-12. We are taking that title away from Washington or from U of A. It's ours now. It's up for the taking, and, I mean, we got a chance.
And like Tyler said, I think all 12 teams of the Pac-12 has a good shot at winning this tournament because for the first time in a long time, the Pac-12 tournament's almost like one of those mid-major tournaments that you see, like the Colonial Athletic Conference, the Atlantic Sun, the Big South, where only one team gets in. It's the winner of the conference tournament. And this year with the Pac-12, it's looking like only 2 teams are getting into the tournament. Right now it's projected as us and Washington. So any team can go, you know what, we want to be in that tournament as well and sneak their way up and win this conference tournament. I think ASU being a 2 seed allows us to watch the game beforehand the day before, and it's against UCLA and Stanford. I think 2 teams that we've beaten before, but we played Stanford twice, and I think we went 1-1. So we've beaten both teams before. So we know what we're going up against, but then again, it's March. I think the Twitter account, John Rothstein, the guy who does the Bobby Hurley tweets after every single game that we win, he says this is March and this is madness. Mm-hmm. It is. Welcome to March. Anything can happen. So I think the Sun Devils have a great shot at winning the Pac-12 tournament. I think it's the establishment of the culture, the winning mentality of this team. And it's one of the first times, I think, in a while, if not, I have to double check, but it'll be the first time in a while, if not ever, for us winning the Pac-12 tournament.
So when's our first game?
Thursday, 6 p.m. against the winner of UCLA and Stanford. Oh, by the way, I think there's a small little watch party. I think that'll be going on, put on by Inferno Insider.
That's right. Good plug. Good plug.
It's at Devil's Den, right? Sparky's Den. My bad.
Sparky's Den. Yeah, Sparky's Den on the lower floor of the MU.
On the Tempe campus.
Mm-hmm. Tempe campus. Free food, some free giveaways, and watch the Devils hopefully make history, get some big wins, and maybe win this whole thing.
Hopefully we see you guys there. And now let's transition over to a new segment, one that I personally love the name of, and it's called the Gloat Boat.
You want to say that? Want to say that one more time?
The Gloat Boat. Try saying that 10 times, guys.
All aboard the Gloat Boat.
And so in this segment, we're going to be talking about some of our Sun Devil either championships or just some things that need to be talked about because they're just phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And let's start off with Will Paulson, first-team All-American for track and field. Heck of a job. We got Zylan Cheatham, All-Pac-12 first team. We got Remy Martin, All-Pac-12 second team. And we got Lou Dort, All-Pac-12 second team as well. I think that's a great start so far, but we're not even halfway done yet. We got Zachary Pody with the 100-yard backstroke title, as well as setting the ASU record for the 100-yard backstroke, which is just phenomenal. We got Sam Nonig, who won the national championship for women's shot put. We got Josh Maruka, Ryan Milhoff, and Christian Pagdilau, who qualified for the NCAA championship for wrestling. We got Christian Pagdilau, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, man, Josh Shields, and Zahid Valencia, all winning Pac-12 wrestling championships. We got Silja Konsikowski, who won the Pac-12 swim championship. And we got Yusuf Salim, who won not one, but 2 Pac-12 championships for swim and dive. That's just phenomenal, guys. Like, coming in, this is my first year, right? And just seeing all of these championships in the last, 2 weeks, right? That's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's just really establishing that ASU has great athletics and that we're really here, especially in the spring. We're just killing it.
It's just, it blows my mind that these people how much time these people put into being a student athlete is like a full-time job. Like they work tirelessly to perfect their craft and to see so many of our Sun Devils making that happen. So many of those people that you'll see in your classes or you'll see eating at the MU, these are all people who are just breaking records and being the best at what they do, and that's really cool to say that they are your fellow Sun Devils. It's awesome.
I think one name you actually missed was Valencia. Zayed Valencia actually is going to the NCAA tournament, going to defend his national champion.
Right.
So yeah, we have a few national champions, but we can get a few more in a couple of weeks. I think that's something pretty cool. I mean, they call the Pac-12 the Conference of Champions. I'm pretty sure ASU's up there in the School of Champions. Mm-hmm. So I think that's really cool. As Tyler said, these are your classmates. These are people you see at the MU eating. These are people that is in your Com 100 class or something like that. It's just,
and they're also people that they don't get as much of the limelight as other athletes do. And they should, because they're doing unbelievable things. But there's just so many of them. It's hard, but that's what we're here for. We're here to shed light on some of the guys and the girls that are just doing unbelievable things in athletics, because there's a lot of them, and it takes a lot of work and a lot of dedication. You don't just come to the field and play and throw a baseball or shoot a basket. hours and hours of work that it takes for you to get there. So
It's the 2 full-time jobs, being the student and then being the athlete. So
it's awesome.
That's a poetic way to end this episode of the Inferno Insider Podcast. I'm RJ.
I'm Tyler.
I'm Jacob.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. Keep those pitchforks up. Stay tuned for more.